Huh? I'm an intruder. I'm coming to your house. I knock on your door, let's just say, or come in your front door. Most people just yell, "Come on in," when you knock on their door. So I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna rob this guy's house. I'm gonna father stabbing, mother raping, mother stabbing, father raping. Look at this, right at their door. They've left a weapon that's supposed to protect their family, but it's been right at the door where me, the thief, now I have, besides all the weapons I have on me and my intention to kill and harm your family, now I got your baseball bat too. So don't leave your baseball bat or whatever weapon you have to protect your house right by the door. That's the dumbest place for it. Hide it somewhere where you sit, like behind your couch or in your kitchen under the counter, somewhere where that person coming in your door isn't going to beat you to death with your own weapon. And it's bad enough you gave them your weapon, and it's bad enough that they intend to use violence against your household, but now you got nothing because you're an average person. You're not like me, who's got bokken and katana swords and nunchucks and things stashed all around his house. You're just a normal person. You're kind. You don't think about defending yourself or protecting your house. So the one thing you do is you leave your bat by the door, and stop doing that, please. That's a tip from Joey only to you today. I was talking to Andy about my Mantis styles, and it's like take an asking hand, relax it, put the elbow up, you have a bong sao, and then I keep my fingers really soft when I'm in that, so it helps my footwork. When I'm in a deep stance and I'm saying I'm on a log and I'm falling, all I gotta do to regain is just point and put energy into my fingers, right? So I find that it's really helpful to use my fingers as part of just my stability in how I move. And that's why finger strikes become very natural to me as well. Before I was really taught the proper applications of finger strikes, it was just there already in how I did things. So that's what I found this really helps me for. And I can be lower in that stance because there's a looseness to it. That's not necessarily Wing Chun. I'll be a lot looser than Wing Chun guys are because of that. And I find like, if I'm just like, I'm WC student, here I come. I'm not giving them near as much to take in as if I'm dazzling them a little with the fingers. And again, that does help me with my balance. So, so much of my footwork can be connected to my fingers in that regard. So that's like my own style. Because when it boils down to it in the end, it's still going to be Wing Chun that's coming at you, right? But as I take different angles of attack, I often find that using my fingers will help sink me into my stance fast, right? And so there's a looseness with my hands, they're heavy, but the fingers remain completely relaxed until I need to exert energy through them in any regard, whether that's to regain my balance or... So I find, especially in dealing with today's fighters who tend to be a lot more hooky, I find having these up as opposed to this out. This is good for Wing Chun people, but you don't fight many Wing Chun people. So having those asking hands out and available to me, I find very useful. And really all it is bam, I'm into proper Wing Chun asking hands. I can be relaxed. And I also find I can do nice strikes with those. And then personally for me, I find having those fingers loose makes it easier transition in things I'm doing, but I got to be careful not to get my fingers caught. So that's something that I'm always cognizant of personally, that it's good to have them out there and feel, but I don't want to damage them either, right? So they got to be soft. Transitioning, I want to use Phoenix knuckles, and because my hand's loose, I find it's easy to find that form in it. Whereas if I'm in a fist and I try to make a Phoenix knuckle, I find it's almost harder for me. When my hands are soft, and that's really great, of course, for temple or knockouts. Yeah, your fist gives a full platter of power, but when you put just a little through the fingertips or through that knuckle into a precise spot, say when I do that right to the chest, and I manage to generally hit one of those pressure points, and people feel it just doof. And that's allowed me, Andy, to be a lot more down in my stance too, because I can float a lot more And like I say, it comes back to Wing Chun very quickly. It's not how I fight necessarily, but it's how I'm going to make contact. When playing with people, just being so loose and able to swim around their hands because there's so much tension in them, right? So for me, a lot of that has been helpful. And then, of course, that angle is so strong that you just cannot physically move it. That's the thing, too. That's that 45. A big, heavy, strong person can push me and they're not going to bend that arm. If that arm is too collapsed, right, then it collapses easy. But when it's at that 45, I can push with all my strength and that arm is not going to collapse. If I bring it in, I don't have that strength. So that's the positioning mechanics of the 45-degree angle. And that's another great reason why I like that Mantis stance, because I can just push in against something so hard and be so solid with it. I can sink my feet and literally just hit with my forearm and it'll hurt. Whatever I'm hitting, your arm or whatever I want. And that can become an elbow quickly too. And that's our elbow strikes come down over the ear. There's just so many finishing moves built into our system that are just there. I mean, if you manage to make contact with that elbow, consider grabbing their shirt when you do. And then at that point, the back of the head goes right below the base of the skull. You hit there, and so if you're in close, that plays out in one movement, basically. Elbow, back of the head. And again, that Mantis style makes elbow very easy to go to if you're in close. So other things that Mantis additions that I've made in my hand work will have, it's not Wing Chun, but it's from the same part of China. I mean, come on. It's usable, it's effective, and its mechanics are already built into Wing Chun. So for 20 years I was doing this, but recently I decided, hey, I'll add it to my Silam Tao just so if anyone wants to try this, they can. So when your bong sao set, the bong sao comes down, then you drop the elbow, then your palm strikes come after, right? So like so, drop the elbow. That's what I got for today.